everyone, and welcome to the Twin Visions Recording Studio Podcast. Today in the house we have New War, a local metal band from here in Reno. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name's Chris Lefko. I am the rhythm guitarist for the band.
I'm Carson Hansford. I'm the drummer.
I'm Brandon. I'm the lead guitarist.
I'm Joey. I do vocals.
Pretty awesome, man. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about like your experience here and stuff like that. Like, how did it go for you guys as far as like being an artist and recording for the first time?
Recording for the first time in the studio was probably one of the smoothest experience I've had so far, especially with playing music. So, very good props to you, Ryan, for helping us out with that.
Thanks very much.
So it was very frustrating at first because I've never recorded before, but once I got in tune and in check with everything, it was real smooth and easy process.
It was fun.
Oh, that's a great answer for that, man. That's super solid. Gives you lots of information.
You got good, good tones, good suggestions for guitar. Great recording software. Everything came together nicely and is brutal.
It's being different from like things that I've done before. You know, it was definitely something very new. You know, because I'm used to just getting in. You know, sitting down, jamming it out. You know, I'm not used to the whole metronome and stuff like that. But being in here for 3 days straight was kind of just like I got the hang of it. It was really hot. Made me really upset at times, but it was cool. It was cool. So
Yeah, it definitely gives you a different experience being in here for a few days, you know, as opposed to just coming in and like recording everything really like kind of BS and just doing it all in one day, you know. Like being in here for a few days and being able to see everything get done is a very different experience than like jamming, you know.
yeah.
Like I appreciate the fact that you guys took the time to like put forward the effort to do this whole thing and like to come here and like really put everything into it.
Well, I think it's kind of like, you know, it's with previous bands I've been in, it's kind of like they never really shared the same vision, etc. You know, but with us, it's kind of like we know what we want. You know, we're not in it for playing games. We want to get in and get things done. So it's kind of like we just didn't want to waste any time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, with that, let's talk about, you know, your guys' vision right now. Like, what is your guys' plans now after recording the single? You got any shows lined up? Any events you plan on throwing?
We definitely want to. We want to do some shows in June. As for like going further, we definitely want to finish up the EP. Right now, we just kind of wanted to get the single down and, you know, just see where we wanted to go off of that. But the EP is definitely going to happen. So.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about that now. What's the EP going to be like? What can people expect?
Heaviness, just, you know, just a lot of metal. You know, I don't really have a specific like concept or anything. It's just kind of like when I wrote the song we just finished, it was I don't know, it's just whatever's in mind, you know.
Absolutely. And that's really cool, guys. Like with everything that's happening right now too, I mean, are you guys excited to finally get that EP out to everybody?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm finally excited to be able to have everything recorded, especially with working with Brandon over here on the guitar, because that was some solid work you pulled off today, my dude.
Woo!
And going back to the point on trying to play shows, I'm definitely going to be doing some footwork here, trying to meet as many promoters as I can for this area, and hopefully we can get something set up here after we get some more songs written down.
Do you guys have anything booked for like current?
No, not at the moment. We have a couple maybes, but like nothing official yet. So.
All right. Yeah, guys. So let's talk about how you guys formed.
So about like 2 years ago, I was like doing some stuff with another band, and then things didn't work out. Just kind of like we were on different levels with each other. So I had the name New War for about 2 years, and I get a lot of credit for that. But
Where did that come from?
New War,
Yeah.
it's like I've been like in a lot of bands. You know, I've done a lot of things musically, and it's kind of like it's always been a fight with one person or another. I started to think I was the problem, but you know, it's just they have different mentalities than I did, so I kind of figured it was all just one war, just different battles. So the
Absolutely.
name New War kind of came to me one day. But it officially started when when I left my most recent band, and like I just kind of didn't know what to do. I wrote one song, which is now the one we did today, and I ended up hitting up Chris. I think I texted him first. Yeah, he was the first one I texted. And then I didn't even get a message back from him. And then I texted our bassist who isn't here, Steve. And then I went to Brandon. Everyone kind of responded fairly fast and was like, yeah, they were on board 100%. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself, Carson over here. I was told about him by Steve, and he gave me his number. I hit him up, and we started chatting and stuff, and he was immediately interested. And then the following week, we were down in Carson's basement.
So, like, how did it like feel like jumping into a band that was like already semi-established?
It felt pretty nice because I didn't have to think of a name, which is great. I didn't have to look for anyone, which is always a struggle.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it was all ready. I was the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Tis the life of being a drummer.
And then we got down in his basement and we jammed it out really fast. And I think it was at that moment we all kind of knew it's like this is what we want to do. It's like this was it. This is New War. So.
Absolutely. So now, with that, let's talk about what influences each of you as a musician, and like what got you started to play music. Like what is it that drives you?
What has got me started to becoming a musician was around 16 years old. Around 16 years old, actually, on like June 6th, I ended up asking my mother, hey, would it be all right to get a bass? Because my uncle has actually turned me on to a lot of old punk bands from the 80s, Misfits, Bad Religion was one of them. So that was the first one I ended up picking up. After I started grabbing that, I met my first person who sold me the bass, actually. His name's Jason, works at Guitar Center. He turned me on to Metallica, and then from there on, I fell in love with Cliff Burton's work. And 2 more years later, I'm 18, finally buying my first guitar, and the rest is history from then on. Then that's how I ended up meeting Joey, actually, one day.
Absolutely. So Metallica's been a big drive in your influence.
Yeah, that was definitely my first biggest influence. And then being super new to the scene altogether, it felt like a crash course learning all these bands still. In fact, there's still a lot of people I don't know. All of these genre names are just coming at me all at once. So
There's too many
I'm learning things over here from Ryan, because not even immediately after getting into bass, I see for those searching, I've seen all these local bands, free shows. I get into Avenged Sevenfold, which is something I ended up listening back to in middle school. I didn't think like, this is something that's possible to play until I finally picked up an instrument. And so right after that, after getting my guitar, that was one of the first songs I was 100% going for was Backcountry. And then that was my second biggest influence after Metallica.
Absolutely. That's great.
Yeah, so my dad, I credit him with my music tastes. He raised me on Godsmack. And
What a band.
Hell yeah.
we all, my whole family, we all played Rock Band 2 a whole lot. And so, like, almost all the bands on that game I listen to now. Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, System of a Down. They're all big bands that I love, and they've all branched out into other bands I've listened to. Like, I've recently gotten into Slipknot a couple years ago, Lamb of God a couple months ago. Because, like, a couple years ago, I couldn't stand that screaming stuff. It
That
was-
screaming
that
stuff.
Wow,
screaming stuff.
Do you know what band you're in?
I do now.
Oh, good.
What about you, Brandon?
I'm not done, sir.
Oh. Damn, we're getting sassy up in here.
That's
I don't
good.
even want to say it anymore.
Okay, so Brandon,
Yes.
what about your influences?
So back in the Dizzy, all right, hanging out with my dad. Dad's hardcore into like Kiss, Twisted Sister, Judas Priest, shit like that.
It's okay.
But, you know, tap my fingers. I'm like, you know, I want to play guitar one day. You know, parents got me a little harmony. Never touched it because I didn't like it. Okay, it didn't sound good. Then, my cousin's boyfriend comes up. He's like, hey, you know, I'm getting rid of this guitar. And my dad's like, yeah, I'll take it because my dad wanted to learn too, but he never did it. So that's the guitar that I used to record all the guitars on this song.
Oh, Schecter?
Yeah, the one that I got 11 years ago when I started.
Solid.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Schecters are amazing.
It sounds so great. But, yeah, you know, I didn't take any classes. I just listened to music and started matching the notes, and that's how I learned. 11 years later, here I am with Mr. Joey recording our first single.
Absolutely. Yeah. All my influences, it's like, both, you know, my dad's side and my mom's side, you know, both families of music. My grandfather used to own a bar, and he used to have his band play there. He's had bigger bands play there. I think, like, Bad Company played there once, years ago. It's, like, the only big band, I think. But, or some... I don't know all the bands that played there, but my dad, you know, he's always played guitar, so... Growing up when I was like 6, you know, I got into guitar, you know, I was being raised on like just, you know, your casual like rock and roll. And
You say you know too much.
Wait, what?
You know.
You know?
You know.
You know.
You know,
I mean,
Joe.
I hope you know. You know? I hope you know, you know. But he always played guitar, so he would try to get me into it, and I would hate him for it, honestly. I mean, I just want to play video games, Dad. And then, you know, by like 6 years old, I think I was home alone one day at 6. Great parenting, I know. And my dad had his guitar sitting there, so I took the liberty of just like playing on it, and I loved it. And, you know, but as for like influences and stuff like that, because, you know, I've always been into guitar, you know, bass, you know, drums, so I definitely like to listen, you know. Oh, there I go. I said it again, like 4 more times again.
Oh, it's
know.
all right.
Recently, though, my influences for this band have definitely been bands like, you know, Beartooth, The Devil Wears Prada. You know. Dude, I keep saying that. Like, it's going to annoy me now, you know. Yeah, just, you know. Fuck. Shucks, man.
Definitely like do those influences,
Oh.
listening to the single and whatnot from all of you guys, especially like the guitar playing. It's very different from don't do that. Like the guitar playing, like you guys can definitely hear like your influence as guitarists, and like same with drumming, you know, and like your vocals, like you definitely emulate like those people that you are after.
Yeah,
You know,
I try.
and you got me saying it.
You
like
know
how out
it's
of
just
place
passing around the room.
You know.
You know?
Don't shun that.
All right, guys. So now let's talk about the single you guys recorded today. What caused you guys to choose that first to record and release?
That's a funny story, actually. Like I said, I was in a recent band. Things didn't work out. Some things happened, like very unfortunate circumstances. And then started New War. I wrote one song, and it was just, you know, basically all my emotions compiled into one piece of paper. So I know for a fact that I wanted to do it, and I don't know, it just kind of hit off.
So the day after Joey ended up hitting me up, that's when I finally managed to get back to him. That's what took me so long, as he said earlier. He said we started messaging back and forth for a second because I was almost always down to join his projects. I've jammed with him a couple of times. and I just get a message, hey, can you meet us over here on Sunday, which is Carson's basement, actually. We go down there, we set up. We goofed off for like 30 minutes, then finally sat down. He showed us the paper that he had for this song. And, it just took us a minute. Ideas kind of flowed back and forth. I think I was just started to play just a random riff. I was just holding down like the second fret, playing 2 strings. And then Carson starts up. This is before our bassist comes by yet. And Brandon starts up, and then that's how we knew that we already had the song ready. Is we immediately just played the first verse.
We all loved how it sounded. And especially with Brandon, just kind of coming in there and just going crazy. He wasn't even really thinking about it. Same with Carson and his drumming. Like that opening riff to the song, it took me by surprise. It caught me. So
Those are definitely really good feelings to have, especially when you're in a room full of people that you just click with. You
I wouldn't say we click. We snap.
you snap together.
Yeah.
There was no click track to
Exactly.
begin with.
No click track.
Matt.
All right, guys. So you guys were talking a little bit earlier to us about possibility of a music video coming out soon.
Yeah. Thing about that, I've been in cahoots with a pretty nice director. I've known the guy for years. I think we already have a location picked out that we want to do it. Correct? Yeah. We think we.
Yeah, we've already established a location.
Yeah. Location is picked out. I've been in cahoots with the director. We start filming sometime in June. Just kind of.
Absolutely.
Whenever we get up there.
What sort of vision are you kind of going for this visual piece of the song?
Well, I definitely want the storyline of the video to go along with the song. Obviously, it's like the song was about being used, being mistreated, and then just nothing there at the end, and kind of going from being used to then rising above it, and that's kind of where the song came from. So just kind of being stuck on your own almost, I guess. We, like I said, we want to have the same concept for the video as we did with the song. So.
Right. I get that.
And we want it to be definitely have a lot of emotion, be very heavy,
Absolutely.
get people jamming, especially Chris.
All right, guys. So for anybody that's trying to find you guys or check your guys' music out, where can we find you at?
We do have a Facebook page actually at New War Reno. It's just a picture of our logo on there. Yeah, but it's the only one that says New War Reno. So.
What about your music?
When the single comes out, we're definitely gonna be on most streaming platforms: iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music. YouTube, Google Play, Google Play, Reverb. So, what was that one you said? Reverb Nation, was it? Yeah.
Reverb Nation.
I never even heard of that.
SoundCloud.
We will not be on
Notoriously.
SoundCloud.
Notorious SoundCloud.
But yeah, we're basically going to be on all streaming platforms. We want to get out there as much as possible. So, and I know not everyone has Apple Music or iTunes or Google Play, etc., etc. So it's there for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, all right, guys. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. But this has been the Twin Visions Recording Studio podcast. And don't forget to check out New War's new single, Martyr, coming out soon.